Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive, where we take a challenging stack of sources and distill the most critical insights you really need to know.
Today, we're really diving into the complex and often contradictory world of artificial intelligence. We're looking at an article by AI thought leader Johan Steyn.
Right, it's called the AI dilemma, balancing progress with human control.
That's the one.
And Steyn is. He's a fascinating person to focus on because he's not some academic, shouting from the sidelines. This is a guy who's actually in the trenches.
He's a builder. He helps major organizations find real value in AI, in healthcare, in education, public services.
Yet, and this is the interesting part, he says people often call him an AI doomsdayer.
It's such a powerful paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
He says he accepts that label, not because he's a pessimist, but, well, out of necessity.
What does that mean?
He believes the closer you get to actually implementing these systems, the clearer the risks become, the unintended consequences.
So he's saying he'd rather be seen as overly cautious now.
Then be sorry later. He said he'd rather be awake early than be praised for sleepwalking into a future where we've lost control for good.
And that really gets to the heart of this deep dive for you, the listener. Steyn is pushing back on the usual story.
He is.
He's arguing the real danger isn't science fiction. It's not, Skynet.
No, not at all. His whole point is that we're losing control of where AI is going because of, human incentives.
And organizational failures.
Exactly. It's not about what the machine intends to do. It's about what we're incentivizing.
So that's the core tension we're exploring, this friction between the accelerating capability of AI, the sheer speed of it, and our ability to control it.
Right. The governance, the human judgment, it's all lagging way behind. And we're going to explore why those two forces are so completely mismatched right now.
Okay, so let's start there with that mismatch. Steyn points out how much the whole AI landscape has shifted in just a few years.
Oh, completely. The conversation used to be so contained. AI was about narrow use cases.
Like small efficiency gains, a tool that helped a person do one specific task a bit better.
That era is gone. It's over. Today, it's all about scale, speed, and what he calls the normalization of delegation.
The normalization of delegation. That's a great phrase.
It is. We've moved from AI as a specialized tool to AI as a general substitute for human effort and, critically, for human judgment.
So what does that look like in the real world? What kind of functions are we talking about?
Well, it's kind of staggering. You have systems drafting regulatory documents, making real-time credit decisions.
Yeah.
Recommending medical treatments, predicting flight delays, influencing millions of people through content feeds, and all at a volume no human team could even imagine matching.
So it's not just helping a human process 50 applications an hour anymore.
No, it's the system processing 500,000 applications an hour, often with the human completely out of the loop.
And that, he argues, totally changes the risk profile.
Fundamentally, when an old AI tool failed, it was a glitch, right? An inconvenience for one user, maybe one operation.
A localized problem.
Exactly. But Steyn's key insight is this. When delegation is normal, and a mistake happens at that kind of scale, it doesn't stay a mistake for long.
It becomes systemic.
It metastasizes instantly. That one algorithmic error isn't just a bug. It becomes a market distortion, a reputational crisis that you can't come back from.
Or a huge societal harm, locking thousands of people out of something essential.
The scope of impact is just. It's instantaneous and it's pervasive. It's not incremental anymore.
That makes perfect sense. And this brings us right to his main thesis about how we should even be talking about all this. He says framing it as optimists versus pessimists it's just pointless.
It is. It's reductive. It makes it sound like a philosophical debate, a personality contest.
But it's not.
It's a practical, resource-based problem. He says the critical tension is between capability and control.
Okay, let's break that down. Capabilities, the tech, the speed, the potential. Controls, the governance, the guardrails, the human oversight.
Right.
So why is capability winning by such a huge margin?
Because it's fueled by the biggest engines we have. Money, competition, prestige, market dominance.
All the things that reward speed.
All of them. If you build it faster, you get the investment, you get the headlines, you get the top talent, you capture the market. That gravitational pull is just... it's almost impossible to resist.
So it's a runaway train powered by venture capital.
You could say that. And then you look at what's driving control. Control needs patience. It needs, painstaking governance.
Human judgment.
Nuanced human judgment. And sometimes just the willingness to say, not yet. We need to wait.
And those things don't make money. In fact, they often delay it.
They do. So those forces just don't stand a chance against the immediate economic engine's driving capability. They're not evenly matched.
But isn't there a counter-argument? If we prioritize control too much, are we, holding back progress? If AI can find a medical breakthrough, isn't slowing it down? Kind of immoral.
That's the essential pushback, and he acknowledges that. The positive upside is immense. But he'd argue that you can't have reliable, safe capability without control. Deploying a life-saving tool that has some hidden systemic bias you can't audit isn't really a win in the long run. It's not about stopping progress. It's about making sure the progress is robust.
Yes.
Sustainable.
We confuse speed with utility.
That's exactly. And that's where Steyn really pushes back against the sci-fi stuff. He's not talking about killer robots.
No.
He's talking about something much more mundane and much more preventable, predictable human problems, just amplified by machines.
That's the key distinction. He's grounding the risk in things we already know about. Organizational failure, political expedience.
Right. And if you look at the examples he gives of how we're losing control, they are frighteningly practical.
So what are those core failures?
Well, first, the systems are just becoming too complex. I mean, truly exponentially complex. Most organizations can't actually audit them from end to end.
So it's a black box.
It's a black box. It's not just the code, it's the training data, it's model drift over time, it's the fact that the foundation models are proprietary. Even your own tech team often can't tell you why it made a certain decision.
Okay, so that's one. What's the second?
The second is that we deploy these tools way before the norms and safeguards are mature. It's always deployment first, figure out the consequences later.
The regulators are always a step behind.
Always playing catch up with a tool that already has 1 billion users.
And the third failure.
It's the decision, the very conscious organizational decision to just outsource critical judgment to models that nobody fully understands. It's like clicking I agree on the terms and conditions.
But for your entire business strategy.
Exactly. And that combination, complexity, speed, outsourcing judgment, is where AI becomes an amplifier. Steyn's point is that AI won't just amplify the good things.
Right. It amplifies whatever the system is optimized for.
Whatever the human system is optimized for. And that includes our less noble incentives.
This is where it makes existing problems hyper-efficient.
Absolutely. Think about the attention economy. What's the currency? Attention.
Clicks. Engagement.
So AI can produce an endless stream of persuasive, emotionally charged content, stuff that's optimized for outrage, overwhelming our ability to think critically.
Or think about crime. The return on investment for a scammer must be incredible now.
It's off the charts. You can automate highly realistic, deepfake, fraud, sophisticated phishing, cyber abuse. One person can operate at the scale of 100. It just lowers the barrier to entry for large-scale crime.
And in the workplace. If you're only optimizing for output metrics.
AI can intensify the pressure on workers, but at the same time, it weakens accountability. The tools might boost productivity, but they can also, they can make mismanagement more efficient because no single person can be blamed for what the algorithm decides.
Which is why he's okay with that Doomsdayer label. He sees these predictable human failures happening right now.
In real time.
And his analysis gets this really crucial layer of depth when he talks about specific places, especially South Africa and the wider African continent. I think we need to spend some time on this.
We do, because the potential benefit of AI there is, it's huge, and it's real.
In what way?
Well, for places that struggle with scarce expertise like in medicine or infrastructure planning, AI could be a game changer. It could extend that expertise, improve service delivery, help small businesses scale up.
So the promise is enormous. But the structural challenges are too.
They're deep, systemic. You're talking about massive inequality, under-resourced public institutions, and really uneven digital infrastructure.
Pockets of hyperconnectivity right next to.
Exactly. So if you're not careful, the very tools meant to bridge the gap could end up just widening it, only reaching the people who are already privileged.
And what about the information environment he mentioned?
That's critical. He points out that in many regions, public trust in institutions is already low.
The information environment is fragile.
Very fragile. So now you introduce AI's ability to amplify things. Synthetic content, deepfakes, automated disinformation.
A recipe for disaster.
The downside hits harder and faster. A lack of trust, plus hyper-realistic fake media. It can cause immense social and political harm very quickly. The stakes for getting the deployment right are just so much higher.
Which makes that shift in mindset from stop to lead so important. He's not saying abandon AI. He's calling for leadership.
Yes, across every sector. And this is where it becomes really actionable for you, the listener.
Let's start with business leaders, since they're moving the fastest.
His core advice is this. If you treat AI adoption as just an IT project, you are fundamentally missing the point.
It's not just a checkbox for efficiency.
No, it has to be treated as a full-on organizational change program. It needs clear ownership, risk oversight. It has to be on the org chart, not just in the server room.
And what about defining its use?
That's the most critical part. Leaders have to be explicit. They need to say, here is where automation is appropriate, here are the repetitive tasks, and here is where human judgment must stay in the loop.
They have to define what the organization will not delegate.
Precisely. Whether that's the final hiring call, a high-risk medical decision, or a legal sign-off, you draw the line.
Okay, now for educators and parents. He knows AI is just the world our kids are growing up in.
Right, so banning it is a losing battle. The goal has to be proactive AI literacy.
Teaching them not just how to use it, but how it works on them.
Yes. How these systems are built to persuade you. How they can be so convincingly wrong. How deepfakes are designed to distort reality and get clicks.
It puts the focus back on really foundational skills.
It does. Steyn says if information can be generated instantly, then things like character, critical thinking, digital citizenship, they matter more than ever. We have to teach kids to challenge what they see, not just consume it.
And finally, for policymakers.
The big shift here needs to be from just writing regulation to building real enforcement capacity. Regulation is just paper.
You need the people and the funding to actually hold companies accountable.
Exactly. You need clearer standards for high-risk uses, and you need real defined consequences for negligent deployment.
Which means deploying a complex system without proper guardrails, knowing it could cause massive harm.
Yes. And governments also need to invest heavily in strengthening information integrity and cyber resilience, because these harms, they don't arrive politely. They arrive at the speed of light.
And hit the most vulnerable first.
Every time.
So when you put it all together, what does this mean for us? The right attitude isn't panic, but it's not blind hype either.
It's steady responsibility. It's a call to action against complacency.
We should participate in the AI future.
Yes, confidently. But participation can't mean surrendering our judgment. The commitment has to be to slowing down where it really matters, to defining our boundaries and building guardrails that actually work.
Like you said, better to be awake early than sorry later.
That's the core message.
And that focus on our choices, on the human incentives, is really what defines this whole dilemma. So considering all those forces, the money, the prestige, the need for speed, where in your professional or civic life might you be unconsciously outsourcing a piece of judgment that really should stay firmly in the loop? That's the question he leaves us with.